I'm a king, go what?
Welcome to the Africa Web TV Book Club. My name is Femi Soewu. Today I'm sitting with Anita Hogan-Mak, who is a first-time Nigerian author. She's also an actress, activist, philanthropist, and motivational speaker. Anita is with us today in the book club because she has written this book called Daydream or Be Left Behind. It's a book I've read with pleasure, lot of pleasure. It's a book that has left me with a little bit of disappointment, but that's because the end was a cliffhanger. The suspense was gripping, and then she just leaves the reader hanging. But that's all I'm going to say about the book. So, Anita, welcome to the Africa Web TV Book Club.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what inspired you to become a writer?
Okay. You have done a lot of good justice to the introduction. My name is Anita C. Hogan-Mak. I come from Nigeria. I have a mother that is from the eastern part of Nigeria, and I have a father that is from the southeast Nigeria. I did all my schooling in Nigeria and migrated to the Netherlands I think almost over 10 years ago with the love of my life. It's been a very beautiful journey that comes with its own unique challenges, you know. Some of these journeys have a way of making a very big impression to you, and you know, creating beautiful stories out of this journey is a very it's a privilege that I decided to embrace, you know. And you know, you meet different characters, you meet characters that never disappear from your head, you meet characters that are constantly also making impressions on you, and it's really very I think it's nice if you can document these characters, you know. So that's basically the reason why I decided to write.
What made you choose writing as a medium of expression?
I have different mediums, you know. In the past, I used to have like a little talk show on YouTube. I also used to, you know, be on stage as well as a medium of artistic expression. I deciding to explore writing is something that has always been a bit innate. Anytime I write and friends read it, they get it. So I decided, okay, why not explore that medium of expression, since it's something I know I can do very well. So it's just me exploring a talent that I know resides in me.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the introduction, Anita Hogan-Mak is also, or was, I don't know whether it's a was or is, an actress. She is in fact one of the pioneers of the Nollywood, the Nigerian film industry. So I think that's what you mean when you are saying you had different forms of expression. So your debut novel, which I have in my hand, Daydream or Be Left Behind,
yes,
has garnered a lot of attention. Could you share a brief summary of the book and what the readers can expect?
The book is, I was born in Lagos, and if you were born in a big metropolitan city, you would know for sure. It's just like saying, oh, you were born in Nairobi, or you were born in New York, or you were born in London. It comes with all sorts of dramatics in everyday life, you know. And most of these things you encounter in big cities are often not there are some people's everyday life, but for people like us who are very observant, we draw stories from it. So this book is about Lagos, city, life in Lagos City, in the 90s, before the entrance of mobile phone, not before internet, but before the entrance of mobile phone, when things were still manually done. You know, toasting was still, you have to go to the girl's house, look for one gate man that is around, bribe.
Can I explain to our viewers who don't know about the Nigerian slangs? Toasting is when you're flirting with somebody.
Yes.
When you are trying to win their love, could be mostly it's the man who is toasting the lady. But I just needed to explain that to some of our listeners who don't know the jargon.
Yeah. You know, so back then it was manual. You write letters. Sometimes you even spray perfume on the paper. And you know, back then everything was manual. Going to look for jobs was really very hectic, because not most jobs were published in newspapers. Some were mostly via or there were boards or areas you would go and look for job opportunities and apply. You know, you would like physically, it's not now, you don't apply, you just send your CV. But back then you really have to apply. After applying, you write motivational letter. After writing that, you get reference letter. After writing, you know, so life was still in the hands of people, you know. So that's this character also. This is a character that fulfilled all righteousness, went to school, listened to her parents, went to school, did the first degree, got out, and to further get better opportunities in the society, went on to do a master's degree, only to come to the reality that it's not about, it doesn't end there. Going to school is good, but it doesn't end there. The struggle still continues. You still have to keep pushing. You still have to, and this is a character that found herself pushing in Lagos City, and she's caught up in different circles. She's someone that loves, grew up in a religious home or a Christian home, and so going to Lagos, she continued to keep the circle of her Christianity, and there she encounters certain characters, and also job hunting was, she job hunted until the battery of her there was a day, I think she went for like, in one day she went for like 5 or 6 job interviews, and came back home and just couldn't lift a finger anymore, because that's how hectic it is. And and in the midst of all this, she creates a coping mechanism, which is sort of like when you're somewhere and you decide to shut yourself out and go into your mind where life is supposed to be perfect. It's in your mind. So she created a sort of daydreaming coping mechanism whereby when she is completely out, she goes back into that her world in her head. And while she was trying to seek comfort in that daydreaming activities of hers, her mother gets sick, and she needs to really bring a balance to where the daydreaming should end, because no matter how much you daydream, bills need to be paid. No matter how much you daydream, your immediate family needs physical care and love, and it can be very, very emotional and physical draining. So this is a character that is is faced with all these challenges, and also still has to live in a city called Lagos. So I remember sometime somebody said living in Lagos is like going to the gym every day. Okay. Because catching bus, coming down, Lagos bus never stops. It keeps moving and people jump out. It keeps moving and people jump in. Lagos, and you're by the bus stop. The conductors that call, before you're just standing on your own. Before a fight breaks out, and you're like, what just happened now? And then everything, the party life, the street party life, and all the intricates. And this same city that is full of complexities is the city that everybody wants to migrate to. You know, we hear is it can be dangerous, so we see dead body on the street. Somebody somewhere, that is his or her dream to go to that same Lagos city and experience that. So that's just what the premise of the story is all about. It talks about all these intricacies, and yet a lot of people still want to migrate and get the freedom or the power that comes with living in a city where you can carve your dream out by yourself.
That's a very elaborate summary of your book. There is still a lot more in the book, lots and lots more, which we will get to in a moment. You mentioned you were born or you grew up in Lagos. How does your Nigerian heritage influence your writing?
We all know, for many people who have been privileged to encounter Nigerians, you know, we are very creative. Our language is a language that has a lot of mysterious creativity to it, and it sort of evolves to our everyday life. If you grew up in Nigeria, your father will be sitting beside a cup of water. They will call you from somewhere. Please, can you give me that cup of water? You know, and these are, for him, it was just normal. And then for you as a child, you're like seriously, you know. So being a Nigerian, and anybody that encounters or through Nigerian, it's a potpourri of every form of creativity. I mean, we've produced in Nigeria some of the best writers, the Nobel laureate winners, and you know, it just comes from, I think, either our environment, our language, or our struggles. So for a country that has gone through so much, that has gone through its own kind of war, I think most of us, after the Biafra War, decided to adapt survival through humor.
Yes.
You know, and creativity. So rather than break down the society again, we just, you know, which is why you see our entertainment industry is thriving, because we're just trying to you know, move forward through entertainment, through music, through humor. I think that's just one of the things that inspired me. Instead of constantly holding on to those things that doesn't seem to work, you use creativity to, you know, distract yourself.
You mentioned a couple of celebrated Nigerian writers. Has any one of them been of influence in your writing? Is there a particular one or particular ones that you look at and say, hey, I want to adopt their style of writing?
Yeah, I particularly like Chiamanda. Recently, I went back again to read Things Fall Apart. I was just telling you, and I'm like...
Chinua
Achebe, you know. And yeah, of course, when I was in university, we studied Brother Jero. We studied all of Wole Soyinka's literature. It was part of our curriculum. So we did study that. J.P. Clark, you know. So when you go through Femi Soewu is also a very good writer. When you have studied and studied and studied, then you now find out that all these things form a web of inspiration to you. So I wouldn't say one particular person, but it's just like contact, you know, having contact with these literatures have embedded in their own ways a source of inspiration to me. Okay. So, I particularly like Chiamanda, Purple Hibiscus.
Purple Hibiscus.
And then another one that I like again is Americana.
Okay.
That was a very easy to read book, but also relatable for people like us in diaspora.
Anita, like I mentioned before, you are a first-time writer.
Yes.
What challenges did you face as a first-time writer? Because it's never easy. First of all, you have to write it. You have to feel confident enough to send it, the manuscript to publishers and all of that. How was that as a first-time author, and how did you overcome whichever challenges was or were in your way?
One of the challenges I had was I was a bit too much of a serious writer. So the first manuscript I sent out to the consultants that handled the publishing for me was too serious. It was just, she was like, she read it, but she was like, it's a bit too scientific, because I did a whole lot
scientific.
I did a whole lot of research, for each thing I talked about. I did my research, and she was like, it's okay to do your research, but bring relatable incidents to it. So I had to first and foremost be teachable. It's your work, it's your story, but you need to be teachable. And that meant I had to bring a lot of fresh air to the whole thing. And sometimes the consultants would scrap an entire chapter and say, so I had to just be teachable, calm down, be teachable, be relatable, and just be open for criticism. And most importantly, what she kept on reminding me is, you're not writing this book for yourself, you're writing it for others. You need to know your readers, and understand, how people don't want to read your book again. It's not like if it's a prose, for instance, if it's just a small easy reading novel, somebody wants to hold it for 4 hours and finish it. They don't want to read something and say, let me go and Google what this person means. You've already lost them. It's in the past that our parents will read big grammar and they are fascinated about it. Now, easy, breezy read is sellable. So those were the things I needed to calm down, be relatable, be teachable, and be open for corrections. So these are the challenges I faced. And and my consultant was like much younger than me, so I had to humble myself. It was more or less like our last born in the house. We Africans were like, see this girl, we think she's a herself. That kind of thing. What does she even know? So certain things, certain words she would read, I would use. She would say, what does that mean? That was like, okay, if she's asking, that means I have to use alternative words that are easier to relate with. There's no need. It's not an examination. It's not like you get prize for reading the book. No. It's something for enjoyment. It's a pleasurable experience and all that.
What is the fascination of Nigerians or Nigerian elders with a big grammar? Tell me.
First and foremost, I think why English was really very successful in Nigeria is because English is one of the languages that most borrowed a lot of resources from other languages. So you hear words like etiquette. It's not originally English, it's French. But because it sounds bourgeois, English people decided to steal it and put it in their dictionary, So English is that word that is very flexible, it's adaptable, it borrowed a lot of things. And this is how Nigerian languages are. Typical Nigerian language is full of proverbs. So a Nigerian person, for instance, if a parent wants to tell a child something like, if you bring in a log with ants inside, do not complain when lizards come into your household, because they are, they are. So, meaning, if you have mental friends, do not complain when they slap you during a simple argument. That's my own interpretation. It can be interpreted differently. But this is how our languages are structured. We don't speak too much. That is how they relate with English as well. So
we have to choose the biggest words.
We have to choose very words that have a lot of intricacies in it. You see a parent say, I'm flabberwhelmed, or I'm overgasted. What is wrong with saying I'm surprised? The Homo sapien. You hear them say the relatable Homo sapien and overgasted. They just like to be a bit more mysterious, and we all know when people speak vaguely, corruption is about to happen.
Well, this is the Africa Web TV Book Club. I am speaking today with the author of Daydream or Be Left Behind, Anita C. Hogan-Mak. For your information, the book is available on Amazon.com. Check the link in the description below. Your book, Anita, explores the themes of love, family, urban migration, and financial struggles. These are themes that are coincidentally very current in Nigeria as we speak, because of the cost of living crisis brought by the collapse of the naira. What drew you to these themes, and what messages or insights do you hope readers will take away?
Well, let's say in Nigeria, problem no they ever finish.
For people who did not understand that expression, that's pidgin English. Problem no they finish. Problem never finishes in Nigeria.
Or they will say probably like bicycle. It's a circle. It never ends. That's how we perceive life. Life is it just comes with its own challenges and all that. It depends on the side of the fence you find yourself. Even the wealthy ones who have their fathers give them a soft cushion, they still have to struggle to find a voice for themselves. So relating my book, like you said, is financial struggles. It touches on everything. A system that doesn't really fend for its citizens. For instance, the children still taking personal responsibilities for their parents' health is still like a parent invests in children with the hope that the children will be like the pension scheme, so the children will take care of them when they are old. And is that the best way forward in the society? I don't think so. There should be a system that brings a bit of cushion to especially people who are aging, because once you start getting to 60, 70, you don't have that zest anymore, which is why this Japa syndrome, in Yoruba, Japa means run away, and all that, has become the order of the day amongst the youths, because rather than constantly carry placard, demonstrate. And we know what happened at the toll gate, in the toll gate incident, when youths came out en masse and complained, and a lot of people died and no accountability. How long will you continue to carry placard? How long will you continue to fight to get your voice heard? When you know there's an outlet, Nigerians being one of the most educated in the world, is not even an African thing anymore. The least for any Nigerian child is first degree. Even if you want to go and become a carpenter, please get a degree. And we see the impact of that mentality, in our journey in the diaspora. It's not like we're not educated, but we don't want to just sit in that system and constantly struggle. And if we have an opportunity to get our talents appreciated somewhere else, why not just do it? It's tough, but that's the outlet a lot of youths are taking now. So I think that's it. In the book you see the struggle, but now relating it today, people just don't feel. People stay back in Nigeria and with IT and all that, and they educate themselves to a level whereby they are in that Nigeria And foreign companies approach them. And we talk about, who went somewhere? Mark Zuckerberg, what's his name? Mark Zachariah.
Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta.
I'm just making jokes.
Yeah, of course.
The CEO, and you just see him.
I told you she's also an actress. She's a funny lady.
You just see him randomly going to Nigeria. It's not possible that he didn't have money and Nigeria was the place. No, there's a talent that he recognized there. And then we heard Bill Gates goes to attend Dangote's daughter's wedding. We all know that he can go, but there's something that is brewing there, talents that are brewing there, that is making these people go to Nigeria. I'm not saying they don't go to other places, but if they come to Nigeria, then there's something recognizable there. That kind of a thing.
Yeah, there is a theme there which you also mentioned now, that's of migration. So we know that a lot of Nigerians do migrate to Europe looking for greener pastures, but within Nigeria itself, because that's
that's what the book is
very obvious and conspicuous, that a lot of people move to Lagos. Lagos seems to be the center of gravity. I see a lot of internal migration. Everybody thinks Lagos is heaven, but does it turn out to be heaven with the characters in this book? Of course, I'm going to leave that for you to find out. So what I'm going to do now is to ask Anita C. Hogan to read a short passage for the listeners. And while she's reading, don't forget to look into the description, because there we have a link that takes you right into the page where you can get the book. So, Anita.
Okay, so I forgot to bring my glasses, so I hope I'm able to read. It's not so bad anyway. So, in where is it? Chapter 5, talking about a particular character that is known as Carol Okafor. There's a subsection in it that talks about that asked a question. Na Lagos be this?
What that means? Na Lagos be this is this Lagos? Like saying is this what I thought Lagos was?
Okay, so I would commence reading. Carol arrived safely in the coastal city. Unlike Onitsha, everybody was always in a haste. People always chased after a bus, even if it was stationary. Another thing that astonished Carol was that almost everybody lied through their teeth, like it was normal. The friend that she followed to Lagos was squatting with somebody who was also a squatter. But Carol was welcome to stay as long as she would move out very soon. Of course, she had her own share of city lifestyle culture shock. The dingy one-room apartment was located somewhere in the heart of Lagos Island, which was ever bubbly. There was always one street party or another. Or was it just in the nature of the people to play music through loudspeakers? Carol, who thought that with her Secretariat Studies certificate, she would effortlessly land an automatic white-collar job in Lagos, ended up landing a cleaning job at the Lagos Highland High Court. At least she worked with people who were wearing white collars. The real owner of the apartment they were squatting in was a woman who was never around during the week, but never missed being around during the weekends, so as to attend extravagant Owambe parties. Strangely, these parties were never short in supply. What baffled Carol most was the fact that the owner of the apartment managed a small street corner mama put eatery. Nothing impressive at all. But during the weekend, when she dressed up to attend these infamous parties, she could conveniently pass for the first lady of this our beloved country. The metamorphosis was phenomenal. from a common mama put to first lady, all decked up with matching expensive jewelry. Now, that is what Lagos people refer to as Eko for show.
That passage, for me, encompasses a lot of what Lagos is all about. Not the character itself. I grew up in Lagos, so I can totally relate. It's one of my favorite passages in the book. Anita, what advice would you give to aspiring Nigerian authors, but African authors who are just, starting their own writing journey?
What I would say is, don't wait for a perfect moment, because I waited for a perfect situation. This story delayed for over a decade, because I was looking for a perfect publisher. I was looking for a perfect, how it is laid in our head. We would have this, brainstorming session, do this, do that, we write first draft, second draft. It doesn't work like that anymore. If you have a story, just, get a consultant. We have, these things are easy to find everywhere. Consultants who can read your story and be very, very truthful about their feedback to you, just write and push it to someone who, and nowadays we have what they call hybrid publishing. So you don't need to go through those traditional publishing circle. Now, if you get a writing consultant, this person will open you up to Amazon publishing platforms, for instance, or in the Netherlands here we have ball.com. Everywhere you are, even in Nigeria, you have different hybrid publishing organizations, meaning you can do your book printing yourself, or you can go and get the ISBN number yourself. You can do all these things yourself and just look for a platform that is into book distribution and push it in yourself. So take advantage of this new technological style of work that has made life easier. So just jump into it, and as you move on, you would eventually find the right path.
That's a great advice. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment could take a decade, and in your own case, you are still also a mother. You are a wife, and how were you able to combine all of those while writing and being mother of two beautiful children?
It's tough, especially when you're in Europe, because you don't have the luxury of having somebody to go pick up your children. You do everything yourself, but just remember, you have 24 hours a day. You will sleep, but most often, when you're even lying down on your bed, be very realistic. How many hours are you using to sleep? Sometimes you are awake and you're scrolling through social media, to look for latest gists. I'm just saying, if you are, no matter how busy you are, that little time that you can use to do something for yourself, use it to invest in yourself. It's okay for us to check out what's happening in the world and catch up with interesting activities online. But if it's beginning to kill your time, it's beginning to soak into essential time, then you need to start asking yourself that, okay, how many hours can I really account for after I have attended to the children? I have worked, of course. I have you've been to my office. I have a normal regular job, 5 to 9 job, and then I also have a home to cater to. I have my friends, I have my voluntary job that I'm attending to. But if you prioritize well, you'll still be able to find some time to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself is basically doing what you love most.
We are approaching the end of our podcast. Our guest today is Anita C. Hogan, first-time author. Her book is Daydream or Be Left Behind. You've mentioned a couple of times that you are from Nigeria, that you are living at the moment in Europe. So how do you balance staying true to your cultural roots and appealing to a global audience in your writing?
This is an advice for people who are migrating. You cannot be more Oyibo than Oyibo.
Oyibo is Nigerian for white people. Cannot be whiter than white, she's saying.
There's a reason why we are all different. There's a reason why we experience the culture that we experience. There's a reason why, and it makes life more beautiful when you remain authentic to yourself. If colonial people came to Africa and they never became Africans, why would I now go to Europe and become a European? You know, it's the beauty, being authentic to yourself. My advice is be very happy with your originality, because
with your heritage.
With your heritage,
be proud of your heritage.
Be proud of it. The same person you're impressing or trying to, become is also extremely jealous of you. I tell you a very quick example. My daughter has coily and African kinky hair, even though she's mixed. But the hair is still kinky. It's still a challenge, and she schools in a place where 70% of the children have straight hair. Secretly, I didn't even know she was going through this struggle. She would go and carry comb and want her hair to be that easy to comb, to be that silky in her own mind. She wanted, and at the end of the primary school, because children when they're in primary school, that's when they speak their truth. They are not yet too influenced. It's when they go to secondary school, they now, and the one girl who, according to her, had the most beautiful hair was given opportunity to write about Usain. So they were all writing the best features. What do you like most about this person? And that one girl wrote, I love Chizara's hair the most. That is what, like her hair is the most, her hair is what I like most. And my daughter is very friendly, compassionate, she did not see all that compassionate and niceness. So that is life. So while my daughter was like, oh God, luscious, easy to manage, the other girl was like, oh, I wish I could do different styles, because I kept on restyling. Restyling today, I will do this style, tomorrow I will do another style. So my daughter never had the same look, So then I was like, oh God, look at me with this boring hair. All I can do is comb and I'm done. Yeah. Nothing more. And when she shared that with me, I'm saying, you see, that's life for you. What you think is nothing is what another person wishes. So exactly. It's like that. Just like who you are, remain original to your heritage, be who you are, and then you would find a little bit of ease in going through life.
Having said that, do you have any upcoming projects? Are you writing a sequel? What are your future plans? And anything you would like to share with the readers, with the listeners, with the viewers?
Well, this is fairly quite new, it just came in the summer of last year.
That is the summer of 2023?
23, yeah. I know Nollywood film, no the sweet, if part 2, no the inside. I know that. I know the cliffhanger is really very annoying. Very, very, speaking as a reader, privately, behind the scenes, I've really made my complaints known to Anita C. Hogan-Mak. So I'm one of those people who waiting for
a continuation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to become a Harry Potter kind of book where you have several parts.
Yeah.
But at least I hope it doesn't end with this
No,
one.
it's definitely not going to end here because
That's it.
it's not going to end here. So there's going to be a sequel to it. I haven't started writing it. I want to focus on selling these and making people know that yes, I'm writing. So I would spend some time in just pushing this one out. As I speak to you, the sequel is cooling off somewhere. It's just for me to.
I thought as much
Yes,
that
it is,
you are
yes.
just trying to mislead us. I'm sure probably it's already written.
Yes, the sequel is cooling off somewhere. It's just for me to edit, modernize, and just make it identifiable with the readers and all that. Another thing, because recently, I don't know, because it's your thing, you always go for all these movie festivals here. So there was the normal Rotterdam Film Festival, and there was a movie I saw which sort of like tickled my fancy to start considering the fact that this also could also be captured in a movie, so I'm also beginning to think in that line. It will be very challenging based on the back and forth situation of the narrator and all that. It's going to cost a lot of financial investment, but yeah, there's always no hurry when it comes to a movie. So that's one thing I'm also considering. When I went to lunch in Nigeria, I went back to my old uni and one of the lecturers reached out and said they wanted to do a stage adaptation
Great.
of this book. So that means we have to go and look for how to adapt it in the stage format and all that. So that's also in the pipeline of happening and all that, so that it will be part of it. Will eventually have a stage adaptation as well. So these are the things as regards this book that that is in the pipeline.
I hear there are lots of plans. You're thinking of a movie adaptation, stage adaptation. The sequel is already written. Or maybe you're just teasing us. That's great. It will be nice if we can, people like myself, can have something to look forward to, because this first novel is really a hit for anybody who has read it. So finally, what do you hope readers will remember about your debut work?
One of the things I've often heard for those who read and gave a review is the fact that humor can help you to face a serious confrontational matter and give you the strength to handle these things and still remain standing, not taking life as if it's a death, it's too serious. Don't make it look like, if I don't solve this problem now, my life is ended. You have like I started by saying, problem no dey finish.
No,
it didn't start with you, it won't end with you. If you can't solve something now, if it doesn't ever get solved, good luck to that problem. It's not your problem, it is problem's problem. That's how it is. So if you read my book, you will see there's humor applied in every angle, so
humor helps in adversity. In a lot of situations. Whatever happens, we should all keep smiling.
Just laugh about it. But if you read my book, you would find out that laughter and humor was in every aspect of it, and it helps you land the message deeper.
Do you have a short story you want to tell give away to the readers? It doesn't have to do with this beautiful, wonderful book. And to order your copy, please check the description below.
It's my experience here in the Netherlands, and because I attend, a typical Dutch church, white dominated, because once you come here as an African or you immediately look for your own local church, and back in Nigeria we don't lack that. There are churches everywhere. It's the best, it's the most lucrative organization back in Nigeria and all that. So and I won't deny that I grew up in a home that also made the children attend church services. So when I came here, one of the things I asked my husband was, which church can I attend in the local area? And he said, you can just go to the village here in the central and ask if how you can become a member of the church. So, and I wanted to baptize my son, so I said, okay. I went to the church. They were very, very receptive. They said, they gave me a date. We baptized my son, and after which I became a formal member of the church. And yeah, I'm the only dark-skinned immigrant in the church. So one of those days after services, I half of the things they are saying in the Dutch language, because church language is very traditional and it's very deep. It's not your everyday language. I don't really understand, but I just liked the atmosphere. So one of those days after a church service, I was just hanging out, drinking tea, because after church service it's traditional, if you wish, to stay back and drink a cup of tea, share cookie, talk about things. And of course we know most churches here are dominated by old people. It's not like Nigeria where you have all sections, so it's mostly dominated by old people. So I was just there drinking tea, and then one of these elderly women walked up to me and told me that, how am I enjoying the church? I said, it's okay for me, I like it. She said, okay, that she's actually very curious about my opinion about something that has always been playing in her head. I said, I was like, okay, what does she want? She's so wise and she's experienced so many things. So what could she probably want to, She now said, what do I think the color of God is? And that took me aback. I was shocked. I said, what do you mean by color of God? She said, do I think God is white or do I think God is black? I said, that's a very easy, I just immediately had some very funny calculations, but I didn't want to argue. Because if you want to know that, you could have asked your fellow white congregation. There's a reason why you chose me, So I said, what do I do now? I'm going to pull a Nigerian one on this woman. So I told her it's very easy to know, because I don't know, but I know she can get an answer immediately if she wishes. She said, so I've never really thought of it. I said, no, I've never really thought of it, but I'm very sure that she can get an undiluted answer that is not in any way, that would not be in any way questioned. She'll get the answer and she can get it almost immediately. She now said, how? I said, that if she goes out of the church and just stands a bit by the road when a car is driving past, and she should make sure that the car hits her, she would immediately get her answer. I know that was brutal, you know.
Very brutal.
I know that was really very brutal, but it was coming from a place whereby her intentions were also brutal, you know. She was old, fragile, bent like this, and still practicing that kind of. So I told her, she looked at me and said, am I telling her to go and die? I said, how else would you know what God looks like? You know? And it was between, you know, I made sure my voice was very low so that nobody would. So when she reacted and somebody said, oh, what are you guys talking about? I said, oh, maybe can you explain to her what the question you just asked me? She couldn't tell the other person. You know? So I just left. I don't know what you think about me. That's one story.
That's,
you know,
yeah.
That
is also one way to confront bigotry.
Bigotry, yeah.
Yeah.
Just add humor to it. It's just add humor to it. She never spoke to me anymore, and I think that was a very good
way of putting her in a place.
A communication break pipeline.
Yes. Okay. So with that story, we come to the end of this book club. I've been speaking with the author of Daydream or Be Left Behind, Anita C. Hogan-Mak. I strongly recommend this book. I also say to you, at the end of the novel, you're probably gonna be like, hey, I want more. It's not probably, you're gonna want more of it. So check the link in the description below to see how you can order your copy of Daydream or Be Left Behind. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave your comments about this particular episode. Until next time, this is Femi Soewu for Africa Web TV Book Club.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king.